Hello folks, Wolfle Ninja here bringing you another nerdy video. Um, I was a bit inspired by a video I watched today by a fellow YouTuber that I subscribe to. I would recommend taking a look. She does speed art of her character, and I'm looking behind my phone right now to try and get the name of her channel. Uh, let's see here. Oh, I accidentally clicked onto another 10 colon subscriptions. Give me one sec, because I would really like to. Here it is. The YouTuber is Whistle While You Work. Oh, I have a cut on my lip. That's really starting to bother me now. But anyway, she does really cool art. She's amazing. I love the art. And really interesting D&D stories. And I just thought, like, I'll share my own experience. Today, like, the video that I watched was uploaded 3 hours ago. It was why she left Adventurers League, and I had a sorry. I personally left my own Adventurers League due to some. How should I put it? It wasn't really because of anyone. I suppose it was just some experiences that I had. Um, like not I had none against Adventurers League as a whole. I was nothing really to do with any of the DMs. It was just some experience. It wasn't what I want from D&D. But let's just get down to the tip of it. Tip of it, like, for one of the big things. Sorry if I'm fixing this. Um, One of the big things that I left Adventurers League for was sort of the disconnect. Um, for me, what really drew me to D&D was being part of adventures and narratives that were shaped by my character's past and his actions. But with Ludo Sport, sorry, but with Adventurers League, you don't really have that. I know that there are some, like, I've seen some adventures that do have, you know, conditions on things that may change based on previous actions. But, like, for one example, I missed one Adventurers League, and we um I missed one Adventurers League game, and when I came back, there was, like, apparently I was part of this whole group that did this thing, and in general we don't talk about the past previous session. But then the majority of the party did this thing, so that's what happened, and it was just I just felt really a big disconnect because the way it was being described was my character was there the whole time, and these are the people that I did this with, and I'm just like, okay, it's a very forced thing with Adventures League. Is like, I understand the concept of switching DMs and players. It's just, that's one of the things that has me as a disconnect. First off, is trying to, like, me and some of the players try to have a connection with our characters. So I'm fiddling with my new Full Metal Alchemist pocket watch. Um, but it was very difficult because, for one, I never knew when I was going to be meeting this player's character again, and then the other bit was, well, it would be very difficult to talk about, like trying to be like, oh yeah, what have you been up to when we both did the exact same adventure but just with different groups. So it was very difficult to do that. And also, like, I really poured my heart and soul out into well, not sorry, I created a backstory for my character, but there was literally no point. There was, like, I know I have a few friends who are still in Adventures League and who come up with cool backstories. However, there's then the problem of just what's the point? You know, there's no point to you having a backstory, and eventually, you literally like I've seen players who would literally just make a character, slap it down, with no backstory. They would have a backstory for mechanical purposes, but that's it. They only have the backstory for the sole purpose of mechanical stuff, which then leads into one of the negative experiences that I've had with Adventures League. Um, was the push for the push for optimization. I've had players get really pushy and really intense about how I should make and play my character. Um, like I've had players tell me I've wasted cantrip choices, I wasted spell choices because of the spells that I took. But I took those spells for role playing reasons that relate to my backstory, and I've literally been told you're being stupid, like and the thing is, to be honest with you, I could ignore that if it didn't if it was only one person, but it happened several times with certain players. Um, and because I was the only one that cared enough about my character's backstory, now sorry, that's a misnomer. I wasn't the only person. There were some people who had, like I said, who had backstories. But because the amount of players that I've ran into who, when playing Adventures League, only cared about optimizing their characters. They took a power gaming, or sorry, or to use another term, minimaxing ideology to Adventures League. Like when I talk about my backstory, they would just completely just make fun of it, and I'm like, guys, like, why? I've already and it's just, yeah. And also the other reason was, so it's the disconnect of like the purpose of having a backstory. It was experiences with minimaxers. Now I can understand why people are sort of drawn to that mentality, and again, I've none against the idea of optimizing your character to an extent. Like, I optimize my characters to some extent, like. With the exception of race, I've also had players who tell me I'm playing the wrong race for my class, but I do understand that you should have some level of optimization. Like if you're playing a wizard, don't have intelligence be your dumpster. I understand that, you know. So I understand the idea of optimizing somewhat, just like not optimizing to be the best of what you can be, you know, for stats wise. So like that was one person, like, and then there was also some players who I had two bad experiences with players. I'll obviously I'll give those full stories at some point about what happened during sorry, pardon me, with those players. But obviously, I will keep names out of it. I'll be referring to just their classes. Um, then there's one thing is, this I don't really fault on Adventures League, was the adherence to the rules. I completely understand why, because you have multiple tables, and because players shift and DMs shift to different tables, it's best to have everyone operating the same role. I don't really have an issue with that. The only thing is, it's when at some point common sense sort of goes out the window. Like now, I've only this only really happened once, and it ties into one of the stories. A character wanted a very exotic mount, but because role playing wasn't an issue, because role playing is not, because there was completely, like, how should I put it, because the way Adventurers League is set up, that regardless of what's going on, like what season you're in, regardless of where you are, if at any time you spend your downtime buying something, you can buy it regardless of your location. So he wanted this exotic mount because of how powerful it was, and then just because he had the money, he could automatically acquire it, even though It's an exotic animal. It would be much harder to get. You know, but because it has a price tag in the player's handbook, and because he can spend his downtime to buy non-magical items like that, he was just able to do it. So that's where a bit of the logic situations fell apart for me a little bit, and I'm like, I like. Don't get me wrong. I'm not completely against the idea of fan. I'm not 100% logic. You know, it's just if something is exotic, I like it, the idea of it being exotic, and not just being something like, oh yeah, just because I drop down these coins, I can just get it. Like as like mail order, like Amazon. Like there's a D&D equivalent to that of Amazon in the world, and you can just spend some downtime, order it, and it'll be shipped to you within a week, or in my Avengers League case, within 2 weeks. So there's that. Um, Another thing I had an issue with was um was sorry, I'm trying to think. I think I actually covered everything of why I left Adventures League, the disconnect, the attraction of power gaming, um and then I had those two bad experiences. Oh, sorry. The other bad experience was no. Actually, I'll go into more of that. That deserves its own video. Actually, I think that is really like again, it's none against Adventures League. Like none of the DMs did anything wrong. It's just I like a bit more. I just want more out of D&D, and I wasn't getting out of Adventures League. Um, Mind you, like don't get me wrong. Like I still have some items that I have from Adventures League. Like I have somewhere here a piece of paper that of a magic item that I got, which was really cool. It even comes with like a little bonus and thing like that you wouldn't see out of the DMG. A similar the hat of this, it was the hat of disguise, and basically it had an extra enchantment because in the DMG the hat of disguise only has the one ability. You can cast disguise self on yourself, I think, once or at will. I can't remember which it was. But this my one was, instead of it being a hat, was a headband, and it came with the added effect of you could understand undercommon, which again was really cool. So that was good. Oh, here was the other thing. Adventure, like I think this was just in my case. I think it's just mine. It was the way it was for because of the type of character I was playing, and it was also me not being fully aware of certain things about Adventurers League, and that was one of my favorite classes. Despite how I dress for these videos, and despite my username, is the wizard necromancer. I love playing the necromancer. But the thing is, I like playing either like a lawful evil necromancer who's out for himself, who is really secretive and who likes to collect knowledge just for his own power and whatnot. And he's very secretive and he's a spy. And I've loved playing lawful good or chaotic good necromancers who uses the undead of bandits or whatever to get justice. I like playing both types of necromancer, and playing a necromancer. Now I've talked to a lot. Like now, some things out of Xanatar's guide, which is in my drawer right there, which I can see because it's a see-through drawer. Necromancer, like now it's a bit easier now. And now with the latest UA, which that had some changes to warlocks and other things, like for example, animate dead now is more available to certain classes, such as the warlock and whatnot, which is really interesting because they have to permanently cast it as a third level, and then a fourth, and then a fifth. They can't cast it any other way. However, unlike a wizard, they could like after they cast it to maintain control of their minions, they can just take a short rest, get back that spell slot that they spent maintaining control, which again is really cool and interesting. But like, and Xanatar's Guide really helped with wizards because we now have that Dance Macabre spell that allows you to, get a whole bunch of you get to say 7 undead minions for a fight. Now, they, unlike Anime Dead, they don't become hostile to you, but instead, like it's just a situation of, oh yeah, um, those things will now fight for me. Once I'm done with them, I can just snap my fingers, dispel the spell. Sorry, cancel out the maintaining of the spell, and they will drop as into corpses again. Um, sorry, I'm aware that I say a lot. It's just that I do these videos while planning. It's the way I like to do them. I'm not big on creating a script for myself, and I just like to keep them going. I just said I say a lot. I'm trying to avoid it. Anyway, Xantar's Guide helped a lot, but when it comes to playing a wizard that's trying to be a necromancer, uh, you need a lot of planning. It's not something that you just because of how long the spell takes to cast, Animate Dead. It's not a spell you just cast. It's something you have to plan for, and one of the things, and that's something you really can't do with Adventures League. No, maybe things have changed. I can only speak for when I was with AL. Um, so because you can't take objects when you're playing AL. Once you're done with the adventure, any item that you picked up turns to dust. You can't take any items. When I first joined Adventures League, you could, and that's how some players were really hoping to get access to plate armor. Some of them were even thrilled when they heard that I had what's it called, mending, because they're like, oh wow, you can repair them, so that way it's wearable and it will work. But then they changed the rules, saying that the rules went through 2 changes when I was with it. Then the rules changed to the fact that, like, oh yeah, any item that the players would find on bandits or whatever are so badly damaged or in disrepair that there's no point carrying them with you after the adventure. But the thing is, there's the spell mending sort of counteracts that thing, especially when now I know what some people are before people are jumping into their comments section. I know that the spell mending says it can only repair a foot-sized crack or tear. However, there is precedent for my logic of thinking. It is in Rise of Tiamat, Chapter 1. Oh, by the way, spoilers for Rise of Tiamat Chapter 1. Okay, so I can see my timer on my video. The video is, you have about 5 seconds to click off if you don't want spoiler. Okay, if you're still watching the video at this point, you have been warned. Mending, there in Chapter 1, at some point you're going to be in a fortress. Well, a small little fort, or tower, fortified tower. Either way, it's a fortified position is the important bit. During a raid of a town. Now, at some point, the main door of this fortified position, which will be about 5 feet, I forgot, I don't have my door right behind me. My door is actually at an angle. You can slightly see it. There you go. But anyway, the door breaks open. Now, these doors would have to be large enough. The door is large enough for a cart to come in and out, for obvious reasons. For supplies and whatnot. So, the door is being broken and smashed as, enemies are battering it. And the book, the thing does say if no are there a person in the party can cast mending to repair the door, but it will take this amount of time. However, and if no one in the party has the spell, there's a certain NPC in the fortified position that could. So, like, despite that this thing is being battered by a battering ram and other enemies, hacking away at it, and there's a damage large enough for for a potential of enemies to come through and whatnot. Like a foot is not that big. I think but this is maybe a bit about a foot. Um, but you can repair. My main point is, you can repair the door, like the door. So that gets me in line of thinking, so I've talked to many DMs about this, and I'm getting basically a consensus with all the DMs that I've talked to because of this example, and we all came to the same conclusion. Mending, one cast of mending, which takes 1 minute, can only repair one foot sized tear or crack. However, once you repair that 1 foot sized, you can then move on to the other foot. Let's say something is 10 feet wide. You mend and repair the one foot of the break. That's one cast. You move on to the second foot cast mending. That repairs one foot, and so far you've repaired 2/10 with 2 minutes. So to repair the entire 10 feet, you would require 10 castings of mending, each take 1 minute, resulting in 10 minutes. So, because there's now obviously you still need to have all the parts nearby in order to for this to work. So I'm not saying if something is burned and you still have like a piece of it, you can like, let's say a book is completely destroyed and you have a single piece. You can cast mending and the whole thing will be back. No, that's not what I'm saying. You still need to have all the parts of said thing to repair it. Now, so with that in mind, I've always so I have mending, so, and because the things stating the things are just too in disrepair to be useful, I could just cast mend. They even said about now those daggers are obviously more than a foot, but like there was no real reason, and apparently there was just too many restrictions, and at one point it was being very difficult to play a wizard in AL because the way they changed how gold was being acquired. Now, mind you, as I said, it went through two changes. The first change with the whole gold thing, I was devastated as a wizard. Because I was like, wait, so now I don't get gold for finishing an adventure? I only get gold when I level up, and it's in this small amount. So even if I do, by some chance, get enough treasure points to get a spell scroll, I now need to spend the money on top of it was just getting ridiculous, and I'm just like I was at that point. Like now someone announced some of the changes that were coming out in the next series of updates for Avengers League, but I couldn't deal with it, so I left. I was just like, there are other classes I could have played, but like it was just that was like the final straw for me that broke Adventurers League, was the treasure point system that replaced the whole gold situation, and I was like, I don't feel like an adventurer. I just didn't like. Yeah, I got treasure points which I could exchange for gold, but it was just, yeah, I didn't enjoy it, and like I said, now mind you, like I do like the adventures. I've used the adventures in my own campaigns without the Adventure League system, and it turned out great. Like I did one of the Ravnica ones that I did from Adventures League. Don't get me wrong, there are some players I miss in Adventures League. My nose is getting really itchy now with this mask on. There's some players I miss from Adventures League. Some DMs that I miss, and I miss comparing the stories at the end. But as a whole, I'm it's just not for me. I like the idea of creating my own stories. I like having a consistent people in the group that you then establish connections. You it's just very difficult to do that because in some cases we try in one case we did try and talk about a past thing that me and one player did 2 weeks ago, and we were told no, you cannot do that. You're not supposed to talk about other adventures um while in the game. So I was just like, oh, okay. So even though me and this character have done something together, we can't talk about it because other people at the table weren't part of that group. So it's just, again, for power gamers and whatnot, I can definitely see the appeal. Because you don't have to worry about, like, they do. There is role playing moments. There is role playing, but it's just I there's too much, like, maybe it's just my Adventurers League. Maybe that's the way my Adventurers League was run. The other thing about my Adventurers League was we started seasons and then we didn't finish them. That was really annoying to me. Was the fact that you know like we were doing I think the season that was associated with Tyranny of Dragons, right? We were doing that. And I was like, okay, this is fun. Then we jumped to doing the latest season, which is associated with Waterdeep. We were doing that, and I was enjoying it. But then there was not enough adventurers for my tier, and I was like, oh, so what? And we're like, well, we don't know when new adventures are coming out, so then I eventually advanced. We started doing other stuff, and then we advanced. I advanced to do an adventure in tier two, which was in which was in after the Mad Mage came out. So we're doing something like in the Undermountain. Then we get jumped back to season four with the Curse of Strahd stuff, and I'm just like, and also we were doing there was also some scripted to Waterdeep stuff that involved time travel, and I'm just no, the adventures were fun. Don't get me wrong, they were absolutely fun, and I loved how my character, who was a spy for this entire, got a chance to shine as a spy because I used my hat of disguise to transform into an elderly homeless person, and I would just sit at oh wow, my beard, my little stubs are poking through. I just sat against the wall, like looking like I was blind, as my familiar, which was a tiny spider, is there going inside, looking around, and I was like, yes, my time to shine as a spy, and a part of me was really disappointed because there was no chance for us to fail. Like, and even if we failed the quest, come 2 weeks, there will be no consequences because, like, there could be no consequences because I could be with a different group, which the majority then succeeded. So, whereas if this was a home table being ran, well, if I was the DM and I was running this adventure at a home table outside of Adventures League, I would completely, be like, oh, you failed. So, and then have like this whole situation where when they go back to the future, things are different. But because none of their families were associated with Waterdeep, they themselves were not affected. So therefore they had the opportunity to go back. Because they were so far disconnected from Waterdeep, nothing really changed in the future for them, with the exception of maybe some people that they knew who had connections to Waterdeep were different, or they never met. Like, the butterfly effect. Not to the extent like, oh, something happens in Neverwinter, and then all of a sudden, Neverwinter is overrun with zombies because of this, like this whole weird thing. like I would have given them a chance to try and fix it, you know. Um, but still, like no, like there wasn't none of that, like and like I said, just being bounced around the different seasons and was just So in the end, I decided to leave Adventurers League. Uh, who knows? Maybe I'll go back one day, but I don't really see that happening because I'm actually partially needing more at home during the afternoons, and I have so many D&D on my lap at the moment. I'm debuting my own custom worlds to a bunch of friends that I've been working on for since I started D&D as a DM. So, and then there's also Ludospore, which we're going to be at Dublin Comic Con on the 14th of March, and I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, I'll be there with Ludospore. But I will probably hopefully I'll get a chance to walk around because there's some really cool, like there's some really cool D&D tables last year, and I wouldn't mind but maybe buying some dice or a dice tray or something like that. However, at the moment, I can't see myself going back to Avengers League, and wow, this has turned into a very long video, and again, like I've been saying, just because Adventure League wasn't for me does not mean it's not for you. And I'm not saying if it's for you, you're a Minimaxer or a power gamer. Like I said, I have friends who do Adventurers League who are neither of those things, and like they have fun. They have fun there. They DM is there as well. No, but I was just inspired of doing a video about why I left Adventures League, and I was inspired by a fellow YouTuber who did a video about why she left her Adventures League group. Um, but yeah, uh, now that I'm hoping to do a lot more videos, um, in the near future. I'm currently decided to hold off doing any Assassin's Creed videos uh, for a good bit because I want to just relax for a bit. To be honest with you, I'm a bit I'm feeling a bit stressed with, like I said, I'm doing more stuff at home, and I have my Sport exam, which is tomorrow, and then I have a follow up tournament soon, and then which I'm struggling. There was a bit of a location situation for me in terms of that, like it's hard to get to for me to get there very early in the day, so it's just I'm just part of me is just feeling really stressed, and I'm hoping to just relax a little bit. I'm taking whenever I get time, I'm taking time for myself. But there's part of me that really wants to do my videos because I don't do these videos for subscribers or likes. No offense to anyone who's watching, but I really do them for me because I enjoy doing these videos. I enjoy doing the videos, especially the ones where I'm in front of the camera or I'm in a position to talk during. I really love them and I enjoy doing them, and it's a fun hobby. That's why I do it. I've now that I'm using my new tripod, which is what I've been using when I Adventurers League. It's an amazing tripod I got for like €30 off Amazon. It can extend. At the moment, it's sitting on my desk, but if I really wanted to, I would need to use my desk because it extends a lot. It goes. Its current height is like I think 10 inches. I don't have my measuring tape near me. It goes I think from 10 maybe 12 inches to 40, so it can extend quite a bit. And I'm currently experimenting with lenses at Ludosport, so please bear with me when I'm trying to evolve the Ludosport sparring matches, and I might start organizing them now by year, so that way there'll be multiple playlists, and that way members could look at like their very first video when they joined and then jump to the playlist of the current year playlist and then see how much they progressed. One member just recently messaged me saying like, "Hey, I changed so much. I'm so much better now. than I was when I joined. And he could. The thing is, he could see it, and I was like, yes, because that's one of the reasons why I started doing those Lewis Part videos, is so that newer members can see where they began, and now see where they are, and see they have grown. Like I had an issue uh, just last year's fall, fall last year, where I felt like I wasn't improving. I've been stagnating for so long. But when I went to Madrid for the tournament, I w- I wasn't as quickly eliminated as I was last year. So I was like, wow, I must have really improved. So I'm definitely getting back. To cut a long story short, I'm getting back into doing the videos, especially the Lewis Sport ones. I'm looking to do more of my D&D ones. I'll do a video talking about my custom world, and about the book series that inspired me. I don't. This is not really as I don't. Oh wait, I'm using my phone. I'm literally looking for my phone, but then I forgot I'm using it right now. Um, I'll be talking about also a book series that I'm listening to on Audible. Even though I don't have a sponsor, Audible is a great use, and I just really love it. And I'm loving the books that are on it. I have some small issues with Audible, but anyway, I'll be getting to that at some point. I might even start doing fantasy book reviews of things that I've read. Not read, that I've listened to. I'm currently going through Aragon. I've listened to Percy Jackson, and I plan to I'm going to talk about them. That's it. It's done. I decided I'm going to be talking about them. But anyway, this is Will the Ninja. Sign out. May the force be with you, and remember, roll with initiative.